This is Bookie. We'll be talking about Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck, and this video in particular assumes that you have already read the book, because it's going to be very, very spoiler heavy. With me today I have Arjen.
Hello.
This is Arjen. You can hear Arjen right now.
Indeed, you can hear me.
And we have Dino.
Yellow.
And
Yellow.
Jay will be joining us later today.
He's coming right now.
Oh, there he is! There he is. All right, take a seat.
I don't want to be alive anymore.
Please, Jay, we need you. Take a seat.
I'm here.
We just started the podcast.
You did?
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm
just
off.
for you.
Timing.
The timing is perfect.
Timing is of the essence. I'm
All right.
here.
I'll just start with the first question while Jay prepares his things.
Thumbs down.
All right,
Stripped down.
you guys.
Naked and sexy for this podcast.
All right, you guys. Did you like the ending of this book?
Yes, I like the ending. And I
Yeah, you did?
see someone nodding. Yes.
Well, Arjen, what did you think?
Oh, I liked it. It was somewhat unexpected, but also, if you think back, what you had read, I think that I should have expected that it would happen.
There's a lot of foreshadowing in the
Yeah.
book that this is going to go down. But I do remember the first time reading it that I was surprised. And I was like, no, don't do it. And then the second time reading, I knew it was coming. But still, I was reading, I was like, no, don't shoot him. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to hear you or if you're on that side. So.
Scooch, run to the other side. Hello from the other side. Anyway.
And Dino, what did you think of the ending?
Well, I think it was a logical conclusion to the novel.
Mm-hmm.
But I was not... I don't remember what I thought of it the first time I read it. Because I read it the second time for this
That's for me as well.
for this event. I was not that emotionally invested into both the into Lennie, so I didn't really mind. Maybe I'm just a cold-hearted bastard, but
Yes, you are.
Well, I mean, I don't know. You can sometimes have that characters don't do it to you.
But I was, in a way, I didn't really like the theme or the I think it's the theme of when something is broke or disabled. Well, just shoot it. I didn't really like that aspect.
Oh, it's 1930s times.
Yeah,
Tough times.
You gotta buckle up and you gotta be good. This is such a good book, man. I'm sorry, I'm like 45 minutes late because public transport kicked my ass. But
You came here especially to tell us how much you liked this book.
I'm just gonna gush for a minute. I'm sorry, I have catching up to do. This
is Jay, by the way.
Hi, this is Jay. So this book is just such a masterclass. This is such a good book. So one of the principles you have in writing is this thing called Chekhov's gun. In that when something gets introduced in a story, it has to be used because like readers expect, and like viewers as well, because it applies to like film and theater as well. So, and this book is so good at it. It's like there's hardly any wasted
Material.
We already discussed that indeed before you came here. Not on the podcast, but it's everything in this book plays a role in
with everything
in explaining what comes next.
Yeah. So the ending was I was extremely invested in these characters because even though they're not nice, like Lennie is just sort of a doofus and George is just kind of rough. I was extremely invested, and I was like the last 30 pages in my book at least. I read with like open mouth, and it's like, no, he just wanted to pet the bunnies. But then he dies because he gets put down like a sick dog.
Yes. I guess this more or less ties into our second question. Did you like or dislike certain characters more than others, maybe? So, Arjen, you probably have some character that you didn't like at all.
character that I didn't like at all.
Oh, well, you had trouble keeping them apart.
Yes,
because they all
all
started
the
with-
names were beginning with a C.
Yeah,
so I was
Curley.
like, Candy,
Curly.
Curly.
Oh, Candy's her name.
Crooks.
No. Candy is the old guy.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. What's her name?
She
no,
doesn't
no,
have a
She
name.
doesn't have a name.
Oh, okay.
She's Curly's wife.
Okay, yeah, no, in that case...
Carlson, and I was like, who is who? I don't remember. But I'm not sure who I don't like because I'm not sure who is who.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think.
Well,
No,
take
I'm
a
not
minute to think about it.
So,
Sure.
in keeping with Steinbeck's writing, all rich people are assholes. Just Curly's wife, Curly,
yeah.
the ranch owner, all of them are assholes, and it's
Yeah.
perfectly Steinbeck to do so. So, I mean...
Yeah, 90-30 times.
Yeah. Oh my god, such a good book. I mean, sorry, just...
Yeah, it's on the second time reading, I sort of realized like, oh yeah, these guys were also characters in this book. I mean, of course, George and Lennie stay with you, and I sort of remembered Curly's wife and her being the female version of a douchebag, and
A douche nozzle, if you will.
yes. And I started reading again, and I was like, "Oh, right, Candy." And then they went to Crook's shack, and I was like, "Who's Crooks?" All right, sure, he's a guy. And then it gets worse with people like Carlson
Slim.
and Slim, and then Wit. I still don't know who Wit is. I know he's in the book, but
What?
He's
Is he
just
guy?
weird. He's just a stable hand.
yeah, it's just a guy.
He's just a guy.
Oh, so he basically exists.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's
like
he's
the
the
guy
silent
from the
man.
time machine.
Yeah, the silent man.
Yeah. Steve is also here.
Yeah, maybe that's
yeah.
maybe that's a plot twist in the time machine that he's actually Wit from another book.
Oh shit.
Well, anyway, we're getting.
No, he's like Philby.
He's
Philby.
totally like Phil.
He's the Philby of the novel.
and that he has a name.
God,
and he's,
yeah,
to-
damn it,
he's
Philby.
Steve is also here.
All right, we're getting off track. This is a question which I think many readers will have had. Namely, what did you think of the relationship between George and Lennie? And that sort of stretches into the question, what did you think the relationship even was? Because they're not related, probably.
So, after I finished reading this, I was on vacation with friends, and they saw me sitting, and I was like, I have to talk about this, but I can't because you haven't read it, so read it now. So I gave it to like 5 people, and the first question that each of them asked me was, are George and Lennie gay? And it's like, they don't specifically say. It's like,
No, that's not something that I would have.
No.
nah.
Is it Brokeback Mice?
Yeah, Brokeback Mice.
Yeah, because Lennie gets them and then they bring them back.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's like that. It's like a childhood friend kind of thing. Don't they? Don't.
There is a small reference
Yeah.
made somewhere in the book.
Well, he knows the Aunt Clara character, I think,
Yeah.
or maybe he only
He knows Aunt Clara.
and he told her that he would look after.
He would
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
care of Lennie.
I think it's kind of like a Bert and Ernie kind of thing.
Yeah, I suppose, and it's explained in the book why it is still this way because apparently in 1930 times were just very lonely times, and taking care of some idiot was better than being alone.
Yeah, now they have people.
Yes, now they have people, except at the end of the book, then they do not.
He does not have people.
Well,
just has
I
sad.
read somewhere that in keeping on Lennie, George keeps his own dream of having a bit of land and living off the fat of the land. He keeps that alive. So in staying with Lennie, they can make more money. So they keep the dream alive of.
Yeah, so you think that if Lennie wouldn't have been around, he would have just gambled all his money away,
Yeah.
like the rest of the workers
Yeah.
who travel around.
Because that's what happens at the end of the story. when
That's true. Like Lennie dies, and the first thing he does
Let's
is
drink it
go to
away.
town and have a drink. Yeah.
No, not even then. But I mean, before that, in the pre-last chapter, Candy, who is in on their
Man.
on their plan of getting their own piece of land, he asks George whether they will still get it within the two of them, and then George says, "No, I will just."
It's not gonna happen.
No, it's not going to happen. I will just work for a month, and then gamble it all away, then work for a month, and I will keep doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So Lennie is kind of his reminder, because he has to remind Lennie all the time of his dream, of the dream.
And while doing so,
And while
he
doing
also
so, he
reminds
reminds himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
So that's maybe their character bond.
Yeah, and I mean, in a certain sense, that's the most important thing about it.
Yeah.
How it all started once is maybe not even that important. I mean, it's a very human thing to want to know how it started, but we can live without it.
Yeah.
We can live with the blissful ignorance.
Ignorance is bliss.
And if that's something that we agree about, then that leaves us at the next question. This is about Curly's wife. Do you think Curly's wife had it coming?
No,
She had it coming.
no, definitely
She
not.
had it coming.
Look, man, she was lonely. She just wanted to talk to a guy, and it's like this is a doofus. He just wants to pet nice things, and my hair is nice. And
Yes.
it's like she didn't know. I don't know. It was very
Well,
it's very harrowing.
She did
Yeah.
know that he was very strong.
Yeah, but like you don't expect the guy to squish your head like a ripe melon.
Oh,
No.
He actually
something I do wrong.
I've never woken up and it's like today's gonna be the day.
Well,
Never.
it's funny. This is a very different topic, but I was walking in the street yesterday, and
You saw
There
this
she
guy
was.
just squishing heads all around, left and right.
no, but I mean, I just passed people and I passed children, and I thought to myself, it's very strange actually that we just have to trust each other, that we're not going to physically assault one another, because we have this sort of blind trust, and in that same sort of blind trust, of course, you wouldn't expect, if you were Curly's wife, you were just chatting with some innocent, childlike man, and that he just breaks your neck.
Yeah, it's like I have this whenever I'm in like a car. It's that the only thing that's keeping like these ton weighing metal contraptions that are traveling at like 100 miles an hour from crashing into each other is white lines, and the agreement that we won't cross the white lines. that's all. That's all that's keeping us alive. It's
Yes.
weird.
I mean, cars in themselves are
Kind
death
of.
machines, but
Yeah, but it's
or,
like yeah.
our whole economy, which is based on trust, capitalism based on trust, but at the same time we don't trust each
we
other.
don't trust any. Yeah.
Yeah,
But like as far as Curly's wife goes, I mean, I don't think so. She just said like I had ambitions and I'm trapped here because
maybe you could say Curly had it coming, because he was neglecting her and he was just an all-round.
yeah, that's
I think Curly had the hand coming, but
Yeah.
not necessarily his wife being killed.
No, but
the hand
yeah, the hand
absolutely.
definitely. But he was just an all-round
Asshole.
asshole, and he was neglecting her
yeah.
very much.
Yeah, because
Yeah, and I guess I feel sorry for Curly's wife in a way. I mean, she may have made the wrong decision in marrying Curly in the first place,
A
but
glove full of Vaseline.
sorry.
Yeah, the glove full of Vaseline.
the
Yeah.
Vaseline glove, yeah.
Yeah, and his hand, his
Because he wanted
pants.
to keep the hand soft for her.
Yeah, and the pants full of ants.
Yeah.
Yes. Now I have as a question here what her role in the story was, but I guess that's more or less.
She's the instigator.
Yes,
She is the catalyst.
Yes.
things were going alright until
until
Curly's wife
until the Fire
attacked.
Nation attacked.
Until
Yeah.
Curly's wife attacked.
Yes.
Oh wait. Yeah.
Yes. It's funny. I mentioned that I did a little bit of research for this episode,
Cheater.
not as much as I usually do, and I think I read somewhere that some people think that the theme in the book is the corruptive role of women, which I found a
No.
bit strange, but
No.
No.
It's more the abusive-like nature of men that is described in the book.
Yeah, definitely more
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's called Of Mice and Men.
Yeah.
I guess it's
Not of mice and women.
no, but I mean it is more or less about just the way men can be,
And she,
the different ways men can be.
She hasn't got a name, so she is a plot device.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, absolutely. She's a MacGuffin.
Yeah.
All right, continuing on, a similar question, but maybe a little bit more difficult. We have mentioned that everything plays a role in the story, but how about Slim? What is Slim's role in the story? And he's a very respected man at the ranch. Other people look up to Slim and take
Trust
his
him.
word for the truth.
I think, well, he mostly just plays a role whenever George needs to sort of spout exposition. So in that sense, I think he's mostly sort of like the audience, because he doesn't judge, he just listens.
Yeah, but he does also helps. Like he takes George at the end of the book to get a drink, and and he's one. He also knows of the. Does he know of the plan?
No, he doesn't know.
I don't think he does. No.
I think he's a likable character in the story,
Which is very rare.
Yeah.
Steinbeck.
He's the only nice guy.
I was constantly afraid that he was going to backstab someone
Oh,
because
okay.
he was just too nice. It's Steinbeck. He's too nice.
But I think he's a somewhat of a aspiration figure in the sense that George aspires to be like Slim. I got that feeling from the novel.
Yeah, I think
The moment
I
they
think
are
that's
introduced to
reasonable
each
to
other, you get that idea.
And he is kind of the sort of polar opposite of Lennie.
Yeah.
All right, with your permission, I'm going to continue on to a little bit more of a difficult question. It's pretty common for Steinbeck, I mean, I've read 2 books of him, but it's pretty common for Steinbeck to...
Does he have many more books?
he has The Pearl, and then he has other books, but no one likes them.
Grapes of Wrath.
East of Eden is a good book.
Okay, so because
and Traveling with Charlie.
And sorry, it may have seemed as though I called Grapes of Wrath a bad book, but it is not. It's my favorite book.
it is so good.
I haven't read it yet.
Oh my god, you should. It's your homework for
Yeah, we will one day, but
Not yet.
the quality of my videos will have to catch up first to the quality of that book.
Oh my god, that book is so good.
But anywho, my question, it's pretty common for Steinbeck to start off a chapter with a very, very large description of the nature and the setting.
Surrounding.
Pastoral scenes out the wazoo.
Yeah, and I mean, I actually, most of the time, I sort of, the words enter my eyes but not my brain. I sort of just stay on the lookout for when that part is over. But this time, the second time reading Of Mice and Men, I noticed something in one of those descriptions. The story starts off at this lake and it ends there as well. And then when the second time, when you arrive at the lake, you get the same description of the lake, basically, as the first time. It's almost copy-paste, but then little things change. One of them being that a snake, again, a water snake, pops out and looks around like a periscope, but then this time he gets eaten by a bird. And I was like,
By a heron.
Yeah, by a heron. And I was like, hey, wait a minute. Is this foreshadowing that Lennie is going to die? And that sort of got me thinking if the descriptions of nature aren't just there to be pretty, but also have some sort of foreshadowing element in them. I mean, I think for some writers that's pretty common to.
Yeah. So I'm currently taking a course on symbolism and blah 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 blah, and literature. And one of the most important things that this course is trying to drill into my head is that when you write a book, you don't add things because. because there's no reason to. Why would you add things because you want to add them? They are not there because. And so arguably the heron eating the snake is symbolic for something, although I wouldn't be able to tell you what. Because I don't like the snake is usually snakes are usually like villains because of biblical reasons.
And I think they're also often associated with magic, but that's not really in the story very relevant. But
no, but deception.
Deception, and because of the biblical depiction of the snake. So like the first reference, the first mentioning of the snake could be impending evil, and the heron. I don't know what herons usually represent. So in that case, I wouldn't be able to tell you. I would have to look it up. But it could very well be like a mentioning of evil being overwon or hunted or smitten down. It could very well be. But I don't know.
It's not really that Lennie is evil.
Well, no, but in the same sense that a snake, like as a creature, objectively isn't evil. It just does.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
But I think Dylan, what Dylan tried to convey is that in the start of the book we have this pastoral scene with a snake, and
everything is fine.
Yeah, everything is fine, and when we get full circle again because Lennie made trouble, runs off to where he promised George he would run to, and then at the end of the story there we have almost the same scene with pastoral, maybe we get they just run away with the two of them, and the story cycle
continues.
The story could have ended that way, but then this time, to signify that it's not going to be the same, we have a snake who is eaten by the heron. So it's not that much that a snake, symbolism of a snake or symbolism of a heron, but more that the same pastoral scene is now brutally exposed as it dies.
Oh, okay. So I was looking up while you were talking, because I very much agree with what you're saying. While you were talking, I was looking up the symbolic meaning of the heron, like what herons usually represent in literature and the body of art at large. And one of the things they represent is partnership.
Partnership.
So all right. It's usually calm, grace, solitude, patience, longevity, versatility, tranquility, blah, 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 whatever. Don't necessarily.
That's because of a heron pair. They stay together for a very long time.
All right. Yes.
So, and in this case, partnership, like the heron killing the snake in this case, like Lennie being exposed as the snake, and then George being the heron.
Maybe when Dinah was talking, it sort of gave me the idea that maybe the snake represents the cycle. I mean, if you look at the Ouroboros picture, you also have snakes being a circle, and then maybe
circle of eating your own tails.
And then maybe the snake being eaten sort of represents the cycle being broken. But anyway, this is. We're taking much too time to talk about the book isn't called Of Herons and Snakes, so I guess.
But if we go with the heron being like partnership, and then George in this case, it could be
George ends the
partnership basically
out of compassion in a sense. Let's switch back to a bit of a lighter question. Light. That's to say, did the old dog have to die? I remember being super, super sad when I first read it. I was like, no, that's below the belt. You can't do that. But
I have controversial opinions on this matter.
All right.
I think it's
necessary for the story.
It's necessary for the story, and it hammers the aspect of when something is disabled in the 1930s.
You get rid of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the old dog had been around for a long time. Everyone was like,
It's so smelly, man.
Yeah,
It's like I
shoot
look
that
at this
dog.
dog and I get sad every time it's here.
goddamn Carlson.
Goddamn.
I'm maybe I'm a cold-hearted bastard again, but I was not emotionally invested in the dog.
I was not necessarily invested in the dog.
No, the second time reading it didn't affect me quite as much as the first time. Maybe because the first time was a lot closer to my own dog dying. But first time reading, I was like, Carlson, you fucking dickbag! You just walk in and you tell this old guy like, I'm gonna tell you should shoot your dog because I think he's smelly.
At that moment,
that's the only reason.
He's so smelly.
It's because Slim,
and he was in pain and he couldn't eat.
It's because Slim says that the dog has to go. That Candy says, "Okay, take my dog." If Slim hadn't said the dog should stay, I think the dog had still lived.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Or at least something of a conflict would have occurred. But I mean, Slim's judgment is we trust in Slim.
Yeah.
Although I do want to say that the book doesn't necessarily say that if something is broken, it has to go, because you do have Candy, who only has one hand, and you do have Crooks, who is
Afro-American.
who is, besides being an African-American, has the worst scoliosis this side of the moon. It's like the guy can barely sit, and it's like so it's not like whenever something is broken, it just has to go. And I think in this case, which is why I didn't necessarily feel sad. I think in this case it's more a death with dignity kind of thing, in that there's no sense in letting this dog languish, because it doesn't have any enjoyment in his life.
Yeah,
and it's very smelly. It's very smelly.
And in a way, we never actually see the dog being shot.
No, we just hear it.
We just hear it.
And we hear Candy whine about it and rub his stump.
Yeah.
Poor Stumpy.
Poor Stumpy. All right, so I mean, at least we know that the old dog has to die too. That serves a role in the story. Similar question. I'm going to let you guys answer this one. Did the puppy have to die?
Yes.
So why?
For the story.
Yeah, for the story again, reasons. Because it again expresses or hammers down. I don't know, but
hammers home.
Hammers home. That's the word. Thank you. Hammers home the fact that Lennie can't have nice things because he just breaks them.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can't have nice things because Lennie exists.
Yeah.
even if they'd stayed alive and had their little wrench, then his dream of petting the bunnies would just become
squishing the bunnies.
Making bunny patties.
Yeah. Yeah, you have this game where
pay extra for that. But like,
hammer the moles.
Yeah.
And Lennie whack them all, and Lennie would have probably whacked the rabbits.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's probably another reason for George to. George never finds out. I think.
No,
but
I don't think so. No.
If George had known, it would have been an additional reason for him to decide. Well, right, there is no future for Lennie.
Well, I don't.
Even in the best case scenario.
The death of the puppy was only for the reader to know that Lennie can't have nice things, because
it's also
later he's in the bar in the barn
in the barn
and Curley's wife comes along, and then it goes really wrong.
Well, but like but the conversation starts because Curley's wife sees that he's hiding something. So again, it's plot reasons, basically.
Yeah, that also. But I don't think that Lennie would have, or George would have left Lennie, or if he had found out that the dog was dead or the puppy was dead, and that Curley's wife was still alive. So the killing the dog was not a sufficient reason to end the partnership.
No, I agree.
And it was not enough trouble for them to run away, as Lennie was fearful of.
I found it quite amusing that the dog was dead, and then he throws it away, and then he goes back to pick it up.
No, come here, puppy.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find it in the book, but there's also this moment where Curley's wife is dead, and he's sort of thinking of what to do and to run away and to go to the bushes, but first he's like, I'm gonna bury this puppy because I'm in enough trouble as it is.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I can't also the puppy. I mean,
Yeah, like maybe if you only see the dead woman, they'll be fine. But if they also see the puppy, then I'm in trouble.
but that's also like his half-hearted attempt at hiding it. It's like, oh, put straw on, just more straw.
Right, I'm done. Gotta go.
And he only hit her head. It's like just straw on, just more straw.
Yeah. All right. This is a question that we saved especially for Jay. About the characters in the story being flat or round.
Round.
Flat.
Round?
What? Yeah, absolutely.
Round?
Are you serious? Are you serious?
Yes.
The fact that George is a very dynamic character,
George is a very round character.
and Lennie as well, because Lennie actually feels guilt and actually feels like, because before the puppy, it was always just like, I was just petting it. No, it's too hurt, and then like he's a round character as well. They
I didn't find that.
they are round characters.
As you're explaining it now, I'm coming to see your point. I think George is a very round character.
Yes.
Lennie, I am not so sure.
No.
Lennie starts out as just a doofus and ends as a murderer.
But still a doofus.
Well, but like you can't change IQ. I'm sorry, it doesn't.
No, but
happen.
I mean,
Yes, you can, but that's not a description.
it's an event that happens. I mean, having murdered someone is not a character trait.
No.
Being a murderer is a characteristic in literature. Yes.
Well, yeah, being a murderer, that's to say being willing to murder for your own needs, sure, but that's not what happened. It was an accident.
But but what also happens is that at first, like I think the fact that he realizes that he messed up and runs away, I think is very telling, and I think that is the point where like that's something that he doesn't do before that, because at first he just goes to George. He just goes to George, and it's like, oh, if I stay with George, I'll be okay, and I'll have rabbits. But then when he kills Curly's wife, he realizes that I messed up. He realizes that this is something. This is too far.
Yeah, well, now that you mention it, there is something that surprised me, and I'd sort of forgotten having read it the first time. But near the end of the story, Lennie goes back to the lake, and he does have this sort of mental confrontation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
With himself.
With his guilt.
Yeah.
And that's something that before that he doesn't necessarily. I mean, he feels sorry that he doesn't have like the mouse or the dog anymore, but he doesn't expressly feel guilt. And then after he kills Curly's wife, he does. So that is a very important character moment for Lennie as a character. So I would argue that he's a round character.
And
I think more
surprising
oval than
moment.
round.
We'll go with oval. Slightly pear-shaped.
Roundish.
Roundish. And George undergoes very drastic changes where he starts out as very protective of Lennie, like protect Lennie at all costs, and he ends up killing. He ends up shooting Lennie. He puts down the defective dog. I mean, let's be honest.
Out of compassion.
Because there's no like.
It reminds me of this funny thing.
And also George starts out with this dream, and then at the end of the book he realizes, oh, but I will never get my dream.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's all right.
So the main characters and
are there round characters outside those two?
I don't. Maybe Candy.
Yeah, maybe Candy. And maybe I think Crooks had a interesting little bit.
Crooks also had an arc, yes.
I found it.
There's a lot of.
I found it a very human thing that that Crooks sort of gets excited to also join in on the plan, and then at the end, when George finds out and gets sort of angry, he's like, "Oh no! I was just kidding. I don't need you guys. I'll just stay here alone."
Mm-hmm. Crooks is a very interesting character, actually.
But those characters weren't really. There wasn't really depth. Origin story. Not really an origin. That's not what I'm seeking. But more. There wasn't really background character traits. Weren't really.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't very.
The character doesn't have to be deep to be round.
No. It wasn't very explicit in. The character first was this, and now this happened, and now he's like this.
Well, I'm not so sure about it, because both Crooks and Candy have a very small, but they have an origin story.
Yeah, and Crooks and Candy are actually very, very interesting, very compelling characters.
Yeah, characters like Curley and Carlson and Slim, they don't get an origin.
They are flat.
Those
they
are
are
flat characters.
Yeah, they are decoration. Basically,
Yeah.
they need something needed to be done.
We
in
could
the story,
even
so
say
we made these guys.
Curly's
we could
wife.
even say that Curly's wife, although she is a plot device, has a kind of an origin.
Yeah, I mean,
And
he
is
Steinbeck writes down enough to have you achieve that you do sort of feel sorry for her.
Yeah,
I
because
mean, I felt sorry for her.
she starts out as a temptress, and we find out like that she's actually kind of a tragic character in that she was,
Dreamt of a better life than this, but
couldn't get it. Yeah, and it's like there's a lot of dynamic characters in this book, and it's one of the reasons why Steinbeck is so good, because I think all in total we have like 3 pages of text about Curly's wife.
I was going to say the same thing. That's something that Steinbeck excels at to, in the shortest time, give you a feeling of compassion towards certain characters. I remember a little time ago just flipping through The Grapes of Wrath for a minute and then reading
Oh my Lord,
half
do you
a
not
page.
have joy? do you just like fun?
I was just skipping through it and I read half a page about this guy at a gasoline station, and they passed and they got some things and they drove away, and then there was one sentence about the guy sitting there at the gasoline station and just crying about his life, and then that's everything that
Is it the
character-
guy with? Is it the one-eyed guy?
I think it was.
Oh, oh my god! I need to read.
Spoilers.
And
I
that's
need to
the
read
thing.
Grapes
That's the
of Wrath
thing. It's
again.
like 2 sentences, and you feel super sorry for him
Yeah,
without it being like, and it's still subtle. It's
still subtle. Yeah.
subtle. Thank you. All right. Anyway, we're going to go into the semi-last question.
Ooh, I also have one question.
Oh, right. Go ahead.
Is this I have 2 questions written down. The first is, what effect does the language have on the story? But I'm going to skip it because
Yeah, sure.
Is this book progressive in its portrayal of African Americans? Because
Yeah, it was. I thought it was sort of weird that this was in the story. Like it's all about George and Lennie, and then there's this one little chapter about racism.
yeah. And it's like, but like he calls it out way hard.
Yeah,
And it's for a book that's written in like 37, I think.
I think 37 years.
Yeah. So first published in 1937. For a book that's written in 37, this book is very progressive.
Yeah.
So, which I thought was a very, very strong suit, because like there's like 3 white guys who we don't know anything about. They're basically background, and then we have this guy Crooks, who at first is basically just introduced as the quoting from the book here, the Negro stable hand.
Yep.
Quoting from the book again. Don't hit me, please. But then we find out it's like this very tragic character who is basically in solitary confinement because he's the only African American at the ranch,
And in the
in the neighboring, and nobody wants to get in. Nobody wants to come into his house and just kind of chill, and so he has like this armor built up. And then we finally see him have like some pride and some agency when he talks to Lennie, and then Curly's wife comes in and she just gets smacked way down.
Yeah.
And I think it's very, very interesting. Like the Steinbeck also goes like, and he sort of puts on this armor kind of thing, where he's invisible.
Yep.
And shows no emotion, because then he can't be taken advantage of, something like that. It was very good. So, what do you think?
I thought it was progressive because what you said, to give an African American that kind of role in 1937, you said, was, well, I don't think many other writers did that.
I don't know of many. Let's put it like that. I don't want to say there are none.
No,
Well, I
don't
mean,
know of
you
many.
had your Mark Twain, I think, or
Yeah, Mark Twain was also. So there was of course there were writers who were for more rights for Afro Americans after their the amendments, the 13th, 14th, and 15th amendments in 1865. After that, the Afro-American slaves became free, but they were still there was still segregation, and they were still a minority that was abused heavily.
You guys, sometimes I'm really glad we have a historian on the show.
Context. Yes.
The more you know.
All right.
You don't see
You
this.
are.
No, but it's like you guys do. So I was doing a falling star emotion with my hand.
All right. I had written down as the semi-last question, but I think it's a bit heavy and we're sort of running out of time, so we'll skip that one, but we'll leave it as an audience question. Would you be able to take care of someone at your own expense?
Oh, Jesus.
Because, yeah, that's... I think that's one of the most important themes in the book.
Indeed.
And, well, if you could probably fill an hour podcast with this question alone, so we'll leave it for you as the audience to duke it out in the comments. Instead, we'll go to the final question. What does the title refer to?
Shall I commence? Because it was my question, and I...
Go ahead, yes.
Well, I found, not on Wikipedia, oh wait, it was on Wikipedia. So, cheaters, that it refers to a line from a poem by Robert Burns, and the line goes, to a mouse, the name of the poem is To a Mouse, and the line goes, the best laid schemes of mice and men gang aft angly, which means the best plans often go awry, go wrong.
Yeah, awry.
And that's the plan of George and Eileen, their dream goes wrong in the end. But I myself thought it referred to of mice and men more in the sense that you have men like Slim and so people of resources, so like Slim and George, and that you have mice. So people who are not as strong, like Lennie and
yes, and Crooks, Candy.
So that was my take on the.
I thought also that of mice and men is just about everything, about everyone, not mice and men, all the layers of. It's not really.
You mean that there isn't one specific reason that it should be called this. It's more.
A mice and men is more.
So can you? Sorry. Finish your sentence.
Yeah, I haven't lost the words. So.
Okay. So if that's the case, could you think of an alternate title for the book?
That's
because that's a very tricky question always. This is something I ask my students as well, because when I give them a story, right? Because I do literature with them as well. And it's like if I ask them, what do you think the title refers to, or why do you think the author chose this title, and they always go, because. Then the follow-up question is, can you think of a different title? Because there's a reason. Like again, you name something.
Yeah,
you do it for a reason.
It's not just a label like this is in it. I mean, if you look at the film The Matrix, I mean, they could have also called it Guy in a Computer, but I mean, there's a reason that it's called The Matrix.
Yeah, because it fits.
Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell would have been an excellent title for The Matrix, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe even a better title than The Matrix, because, I mean, I study math and I know what a matrix is, and it has nothing to do with this. But, well, I guess a matrix in a computer science can be a different thing, maybe. But
well, they could have called it The Cave.
Oh, yeah, because it's based on Plato.
Plato.
Yeah,
that would have worked. But this book, though?
Jeez.
Isn't this a good title? Such a perfect book.
Look, man. Nick Hornby is an excellent writer. Don't you diss my homeboy. Because I wouldn't be able to give you.
No.
All right.
But also another idea was like of mice and men. It starts with the mouse. Lennie has a mouse, and he had the dead mouse. He killed it already.
Maybe he could have called it Omens of Compassion.
Omens of Compassion. I think that would have been laying it on a bit thick
there. Too thickly.
A bit thick there, yeah. I don't know. I think I tend to not overanalyze titles because I'm very bad at it.
Yeah.
I usually go, because literally when I was reading this book, it's like, there's guys and there's mouse as well. There's mice as well. Oh.
Done.
And also, but
yeah,
I was
Arjen,
saying,
you finish
it
the
starts with
sentence.
a mouse. Lennie has a mouse, and it's dead. And in a certain way, every character is a mouse. Every character is just a being, an animal. Mm-hmm. But also, all those characters are also male, except Curly's wife, but she doesn't have a name. So she would be a mouse in this case. Because she doesn't have a name.
Well, because she also
Mice don't have names.
Because she also gets crushed by Lennie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Huh.
But the title is more difficult to
I think
interpret than a title like Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
fair enough.
there's a lot of things to dissect here.
Yes, I mean...
And I'm not very smart, so...
yeah, so I suppose we'll leave it at that. I have been Dylan, and this has been Dino.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dino. Thank you, Arjen.
And good boy.
And thank you, Jay.
Sorry for being late. This book's a 10 out of 10.
And also, thank you, people, so very much for listening. Next month, we'll be discussing 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Octopuses.
Octopi, thank you.
Octopodes.
Octopodes, 20,000 Leagues Under the Octopodes by Jules Verne. So, if you want to join in on the discussion, make sure to read or reread it. I don't think it's very long. Anyway, we'll be seeing you in not very long, I hope.
Octopupils.
If you want to be reminded when the video comes online, then please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you again, and we'll be seeing you next time.
Octopens.
Octopi.
Octobi.
Octopi.
Octopi.